When you are exposed to things, it gives you options. Options give you choices, and choices require decisions. It is critically important that you make this next step into sound decisions.
Every decision that you make has consequences, even the smallest decisions.
Consequences are more important than decisions. Don't ever make a decision more important than a consequence, because decisions give birth to consequences. People normally say if you make a decision, you got to live with it. That is not true. You live with the consequences.
Are you making yourself better, or are you making yourself worse? Are you moving forward, or are you moving back? Are you making progress, or are you stagnating? Every little decision you make counts.
Some people are afraid to make decisions. They just contemplate the options for years and miss the opportunity to change their life because they miss the time factor that is involved in making a great decision.
So what you must do before you make any decision in life is don't study the decision. Make sure you exhaust every possible means to study the consequences. Do your research, get information, check all the alternatives, study the options, check those who already made that decision, and read their life, study their life, find out everything before you make a decision.
Deciding to decide, to act, is a major, major challenge for all of us. And there are things that happen to us along the way, experiences that we have that prevent us from working through the mental block of acting. And so what I want you to think about is, what is there that you know you need to do, but for some reason or another, you've been holding back? For some reason or another, you just have not been able to gather your nerves or be able to work through the procrastinating or putting it off or justifying or blaming. Some reason or another, you just haven't done it.
Do you know where to hide when discouragement comes flying past your head? Or do you run to the same enemy that is attacking you in an effort to hide? I'm not talking about physical places, because the hiding places that we create that destroy us are usually the ones in our heart. Emotional states. When attacks come, I've learned where to run. And the reason that I'm moving forward in my life this year isn't because I won't be attacked, it's because I know what to run to when I am.
I don't want to spend the second half of my life repeating the dumb stuff that I did in the first half of my life. Give me the grace, if you will. Give me the mercy, if you please, to make a good decision so that I can eat the fat of the land. I'm not stupid. I just made stupid decisions. I'm not bad. I just made bad decisions. I'm not weak. I just made weak decisions. There are a lot of things you think about you. It's not really you. It's your decisions.
When you acknowledge God in all your ways, He will direct your path. But too often, we make our plans without consulting God. Then we ask Him to bless those plans. We wonder why it's a struggle, why it feels like it's always uphill. We have it backwards. We're making a move and then asking God for help. The right way is to ask God first.
Many people doubt themselves because when they thought about doing something at some critical point in their lives, somebody they respected and honored, somebody they believed in, somebody that they loved, someone they trusted said, "You can't do that."
Most of the people who really ain't got it, they go out of their way to try and show people that they have it. The more you go out of your way to show me that you have it, you're confirming to me that you really don't got it. Because it's perception versus reality. Because you pulling up to the club in the nicest car don't mean you actually got gas money.
As you begin to look at your emotional, your spiritual, and intellectual development, how many books did you read? How many classes did you take to begin to develop yourself professionally, to improve your craft or your skill? How many new things did you learn? Just take some personal inventory, just thinking. Beginning to know yourself. What are the things about your past that has influenced you right now?
You see, a dream, when you get it, will encourage you. There's something about a dream that brings encouragement and joy to people's lives. It gives you excitement. It encourages you. The people who are discouraged are the people who don't have a dream. Because when you have a dream, it makes you get up in the morning. It makes you put your clothes on and go to work because you've got a dream, and a dream has the power to encourage you.
You have not because you ask not. It didn't say you have not because your credit ain't straight. It simply say you have not because you ask not. But you don't ask because you ain't got that together. When you ask God for something, quit tripping. He got it from Him.
The same wind blows on us all. The wind of disaster, the wind of opportunity, the wind of change, the wind when it's upside down, the wind when it's favorable and unfavorable. The same wind blows on us all. The economic wind, the social wind. The same wind blows on everybody. The difference in where you arrive in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, the difference in arrival is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail.
Some people don't want to be for you, and that's okay. You don't need them to fulfill your destiny. You have to set your face. The people that need to be for you will be for you. God has already lined up the right people, people that will celebrate you, people that stick with you through thick and thin.
A lot of people never try anything differently because they have been convinced by people in their lives that they value that they can't do it. They're living within the context of the opinions that other people have of them, the low expectations.
You need to be patient with the process and not enthralled with the promise. You compromise the rehearsal time and bought the tuxedo for the recital. You want the accoutrements of success, and that's what's killing you. Now you look like something that you're not. Somebody say wrong focus.
Joy can only really come to my life when I am focused on what God is doing in this moment. And I cannot focus on what God is doing in this moment in my life if I'm consumed with what He's doing in somebody else's, or if I'm still in regret and bitterness about what happened 3 years ago or 3 months ago. A lot of our lack of joy is really not about possession, it's about position. What I mean is this: He set joy before Him. It's not a question of God's presence. It's about yours. Are you present in this moment?
You can't live off of yesterday's manna and expect to have victory today. Yesterday's information may not work today. Stay open for change. Be willing to try something new. What made you successful 5 years ago may not make you successful today. Have the attitude, God, I'm ready for new things. If you don't innovate, you will evaporate. You can't rely on what got you to where you are to keep you where you are. The world is changing. You can't afford to sit back on autopilot and just coast, do things the same way. You'll get left behind.
But if we're not conscious of dropping a thought or a behavior that's no longer needed, we take old thoughts, old behaviors that served an old version of ourselves into trying to become the new version of ourselves. So ask yourself that question. What do I need to drop that's no longer needed? Is it a person? Is it a thought? Is it a behavior? Or is it an emotion?
If someone is controlling you, it's not their fault, it's yours. You have to put your foot down, make a change. This is your hour. I know people that spend more time worried about what other people think about them than they do pursuing their own dreams and goals. And it's great to get free from addictions, but one of the greatest freedoms is to get free from people.
Being successful, y'all, is not a magic trick. You have to learn the principles of success. You can be successful at anything. You really can, man. I don't have no education. I'm telling you, God has an incredible life for you. All you got to do is ask him for it. Be willing to put in the work. But now this work part is hard. Success is hard. But let me ask you a question. Ain't not being successful hard too?
You cannot reach your destiny dragging people along, trying to keep everyone happy.
Life is like an elevator. The higher you go up, like those spaceships, they let certain stuff off because it's too heavy. Yet some people just too heavy when it comes to drama. When you have goals and dreams and you want to fine tune your life and approach to life, you want to create a drama-free zone.
What else is in you? Who are you ignoring? Is there a version of you you're ignoring? So think about that stuff and really begin to ask yourself, am I satisfied where I am? And start listening to that voice inside of you saying, hey, listen, it's whispering right now, but it's calling you. It's saying there's something more. There's something else. There's something else you can give.
Deciding to keep your word. If you just decide, I'm going to keep my word. If I say something, I'm going to do it regardless. Being more considerate, more disciplined, being more adventurous. Find something that you can look at your life that you say, hey, I know I've got a problem in this area, being late. I need to take care of that. Procrastinating, I need to deal with that.
For things to change, you have to change. I was hoping the government would change and taxes would change. I wished for everything to change. And my teacher said, no, Mr. Rohn, for things to change for you, you have to change. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. And here's the big one. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. You simply need more skills.
Stop telling the old story. Here's the truth. Nobody cares. No one cares if you've had a setback. No one cares if you had a victory. And none of those failures, none of those setbacks, none of those victories, and that old character you keep playing is the very thing that will prevent you from becoming this new version of you.
Not taking care of business, being seriously not serious. Creating an imbalance in my life where I'm spending more time looking at television or having social fun and not spending enough time working on me. See, most people, ladies and gentlemen, spend more time working on their jobs than they spend working on themselves.
It's a story if you're stuck. It's an old story you're telling with an old character that was last year's version, last decade's version. Who's the new character? What's the new script? What's the new story?
Your personal philosophy is like a guidance system that helps you make decisions what to do, what not to do. From the information you get and what you learn and what you know, we decide. Maybe your philosophy would have been 5 years ago never to attend seminars like this. You just didn't go. Now 5 years later, here you are. Something happened along the way. So now that little amendment in your philosophy, you now say, I'm going to regularly go. Because it doesn't take but a few ideas to make a great difference in your income, personal life, social life, and all the rest. A change of mind, a change of idea. The more we learn, the more we know, the better we're able to make better decisions.
So what is the worst thing that can happen? I want you to visualize that, experience that, feel the nervousness and the discomfort. And the more you run it in your mind, the less power that it will have.
Your philosophical guidance system does two things. Number one, helps you to see the dangers on one side, so you can avoid those. But here's what else your guidance system does. Helps you to see the opportunities on the other side, so that you can expand those, maximize those. And here's what that's called. The game of life is to minimize the dangers and maximize the opportunities. And the more we know and the more we learn, the more experience we gather, helps us to keep continually adjusting our philosophical guidance system so that we minimize more dangers, maximize more opportunities. That's really the game of life.
Stop hanging out with people that make you look good by how little they know. And so you can condescend to them so that you can be a great fish in a small pond. Get around people who make you feel stupid because they stretch you. They make you grow. They make you read. They make you study. They stretch you. They expose you to great information. Then you can make great decisions.
No matter what's going on in your life, you can be happy and so blessed that people will envy you and envy your life. No matter what's going on in your life. Now that blessing is attached to a moral excellence or a virtue of soul called the poor in spirit, which really means the humble-minded, those who are totally dependent on God, and those who don't think that they're better than other people.
Have you ever had anybody turn on you? It's one thing to have an enemy. I don't have no problem with that, because if I know you're my enemy, I dress for you. I come in there prepared, because I already know you and me, we don't do each other. We don't do that, so okay. But the heart cracks when somebody who fought with you now fights against you.
The future is actually the place where there is threat. And it's always going to be there. So what do? You make sacrifices in the present so that the future is better. Everyone does that. That's what you're doing right now. That's what you're doing here. It's amazing. You can bargain with reality. You can forestall gratification now. And it'll pay off at a place and time that doesn't even exist yet. Who would have believed that? It's like that's a miracle that occurs.
Learn number one from your own experiences, learn number two from other people's experiences. If you want to live a dynamic life, multiplying your income, multiplying your future, be a good student. If a good idea comes your way, write it down, then ponder it, then perhaps go do it. Your philosophy comes from what you learn, comes from what you know, comes from other people's experiences.
I want you to focus on what does it take when you look at your life. Very important to focus on the examples of other people and what it takes to live the kind of life that you desire. You want to make it in life? Perseverance is important, persistence is important, and you got to believe in you. And you got to trust God that things are going to work out.
You can do goal setting with a pencil, but you have to do goal getting with your legs. And it's the action that separates us. The greatest gap in this world is the gap between knowing and doing. Knowing is goal setting. Doing, now that's goal achieving. You got to take action.
This attitude is rarely found. Well, anyway, if you've been troubled by the old familiar human malady of running up too many roads and trying to run up more than one at a time, pick the one out of all of them which seems to offer the most promise, forget all the rest, and dig a deep, straight highway to your goal in life. You'll be amazed at how quickly it can be reached, and the time will pass anyway.
A lot of people think that what's possible in their lives is strictly determined by where they came from and what happened to them. No, you have no idea how far you can go, how far you can stretch, how far you can reach. So you got to take that thing and hold on to that and figure out, well, how can I apply this into my life? If I take this might be the day mentality that everything comes together for me. You don't know what's possible in your life. You have no idea how far you can reach, how far you can stretch. You have no idea.
The happiest people on earth are those who are emotionally involved in what they're doing. This calm, cool, collected bit is all right for cows, camels, and turtles, but it'll never produce a great sermon, symphony, business, piece of architecture, painting, marriage, or the miracle of a child. When you lose the excitement and heightened feeling of emotion in what you're doing, you'd best look around for something else.
Humans have an unreal capacity to get great at things, even if they don't have a natural talent for it, if they're immersed in it, and to learn something and acquire a ton of knowledge in a short period of time as well. Society is conspiring all the time in our culture to completely distract you so you never win. And they get these different things on television and our phones and in our lives to just get us distracted so we never get obsessed. We never get laser focused for an extended period of time.
People without vision perish, and they die in a life of mediocrity. They die with their dreams still in them. They die living a misplaced place life, making the cemetery rich and Miles Monroe angry.
So for me, my brain's saying, that's it, right there. Move as fast as a rocket, Mel. I wanted to change my life. And I think most people that are miserable or that are really like dying to be great, we want to change. We want to live a better life. We want to create more for our families. We want to be happier. The desire is there. It's about how do you go from knowledge to action.
If you do something often enough, a ratio will appear. Key phrase, if you do something often enough, a ratio will appear. It's amazing. In baseball, we call it batting average. If you talk to 10 people, one says yes. Now the ratio has begun. 1 out of 10. Here's something interesting about the law of averages. Once it starts, it tends to continue.
I talk a lot about your instincts and inner wisdom. When you set goals, when you have an intention on something that you want to change about your life, your brain helps you. What it does is it opens up a checklist, and then your brain goes to work trying to remind you of that intention that you set. And it's really important to develop the skill of knowing how to hear that inner wisdom and that intention kicking in and leaning into it quickly.
If you're in a negative vibration, the only thing you can attract to you is something negative. How do you change? Well, one good way is consciously pick the people you associate with. Pick with people who are winning. Go mix with them. Do what they do.
We've all had times where something didn't work out. We didn't get the promotion, the loan didn't go through, a relationship didn't make it. We did our best, we prayed, we believed, but the door didn't open.
When someone closes a door in your face, all you have to remember is when God allows them to close the door in your face, all God wants you to do is walk up the hall. It's some more doors. You just got to walk up the hall.
And the scripture says, God opens doors that no man can shut, and he shuts doors that no man can open. People can't keep you from your purpose.
Because I can promise you, he got a better door that he wants you to go through than the one that got shut in your face. That's a fact. But what happened to people is they stand there beating on the door. Please open it back up. Help me. My family. Stop. These people that close doors in your face, they ain't the only door. God is the creator of all doors, man. The door is closed for a reason.
When it's your time, God is going to open a door that will thrust you ahead. You're going to look back and say, what I thought was a closed door was really an opportunity for God to show out in my life. I thought it was setting me back, but really it was setting me up to go further than I thought possible.
I'm going to curse the door on you going back. The people who used to help you will not help you. The people who used to be there wouldn't be there. I'm going to shut the door on you going back to being who you were. And you're going to have to grow up and go forward because I have shut the door on going back. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I'm talking to somebody. When God really has interest in you, he will shut the door on going back. Oh, God, I got to stop and take a minute and forget about you. Because when I start thinking about shut doors, I have to praise him for all the doors that he shut in my life. Thank you for the friends that rejected me. Thank you for the people that said no. If I'd have stopped there, I would have missed my destiny. But every time you wanted to shut a door, it was because you had something better for me. If you understand what I'm saying, give God a praise right now.
Now, people may have closed the door, tried to keep you from promotion. Forces of darkness may have locked the door, tried to keep you from your healing, from your freedom. You need to get your fire back. Closed doors can't stop you. Every circumstance says it's too late. That door is locked. It's never going to open. You need to get ready. God is about to show out in your life. One touch of His favor, one contract, one healing, meeting one right person will catapult you to a new level. You may feel like you're behind a closed door in your health, in your career. You're working hard but not getting ahead. Stay encouraged. Those closed doors are not permanent. People don't control your doors. Fear, addiction, depression don't control your doors. You're about to see some doors that have been closed for a long time suddenly open. Suddenly your health improves. Suddenly you meet the right person. What happened? The doorkeeper stepped in. Get ready for some open doors. Even when we let fear, insecurity, intimidation cause us to shrink back, God says, that's no problem for me. Depression can't stop what I have for you. Limited thinking can't hold me back. You may have locked the door, but it's the right time. God is going to come through the door. He's not going to let you miss your destiny. Like me, you may have locked some doors because of fear or because of mistakes you've made. Things haven't worked out. Now you've gone years with that door locked, thinking it could never happen. No, your time is coming. The fear may not totally go away, but you're going to feel a boldness rising up. That's the Most High God breathing in your direction. Those doors you locked didn't stop your destiny. God is not going to let fear hold you back. He's not going to let how you were raised, what you didn't get, to keep you from becoming who you were created to be. God sees potential in you. He sees seeds of greatness that you may not be able to see in yourself. Don't shrink back. You are well able. You thought you would always be single. You've already shut that door, convinced yourself you'll never meet anyone. God is going to come through the door and bring someone better than you've ever dreamed. You may think you're too old to accomplish your dream. Can I tell you, it's on the way. You think it's too late to start your business. It's on the way. Last time you tried, it didn't work out. It's on the way. You may be in a situation where you don't see a way out. In your health, your career, a relationship, it's because the door is not there yet. God is not finished. They're already on your plans. And at the right time, suddenly things shift in your favor. Suddenly the opposition goes away. And when you don't see a way, instead of being discouraged, you need to remind yourself, no person can stop your destiny.
There were behaviors and thoughts you've had in the past that were needed to produce the results you currently have. But you need to stop what's no longer needed. Maybe you're continuing a thought or a worry that at one time was needed, but no longer is. It could be something to protect yourself from fear, to protect yourself from harm. But if we're not conscious of dropping a thought or a behavior that's no longer needed, we take old thoughts, old version of ourselves into trying to become the new version of ourselves. If you're stuck in a story. There's a story you're telling yourself that doesn't serve you anymore. But what you need to do is you need to alter your associations. You need to do something in a short window of time. You definitely need to evaluate what is no longer needed. There's all kinds of stories we tell ourselves that don't serve us anymore. Maybe it's a story about your past, a story about your parents, a story about a success you used to have. You keep talking about, if I can be real with you, whatever you've achieved up to this point, that story you keep talking about, every second you spend in that old story about what you've achieved, your degree, every time you live in that story, you're stripping time and focus from the new story. You can't have a new identity without a new story. What's the old story you keep repeating? Maybe it's not a success. Maybe it's a failure that you've had, a mistake you made. And you're repeating this story to yourself, simultaneously trying to create a new identity. One of the things we have to do to create a new identity is to begin to tell a new story. Who are you now? What are you all about now? Where are you going now? See, here's what's amazing. At any point in your life, you can just decide to write a new script. The leading character in the story of your life is you. And guess what? You and God control the script. Listen to me. At any time you want, you can simply decide to be a new character. Stop telling the old story. Here's the truth. Nobody cares. No one cares if you've had a setback. No one cares if you had a victory. And that old character you keep playing is the very thing that will prevent you from becoming this new version of you. Now, there's a lot of little mini things in life that matter. There's never one thing. If you said, what's the key? I can tell you, it's my addiction and my obsession to working on my identity. Just being aware of the concept, just awareness of the power of identity puts you in the 0.1% of all the people on the spinning earth right now. I don't like telling the old story. I'm constantly trying to write the new script, become the new character in my life. I'm constantly obsessed with writing the next chapter of my life, not reading the previous ones.
Of all the stuff I've gone through in my life, eating out of trash cans, sleeping in abandoned buildings. The worst thing that ever happened is when I went to the hospital and they told me my wife had a chronic illness and she might not be able to walk one day. People say, E.T., ask CJ, it never broke me. Why? Because I've been broken so much. I've been defeated so much. I've been disappointed so much in my life that I know what it feels like and I can handle it.
And I'll tell you another thing. It's not even from the military. Like, the military requires discipline, obviously. But there's plenty of people in the military that don't have it, right? And many people lose their discipline when they leave the military because it's not being imposed on them anymore. So, I mean, just go look around. I mean, being in the military does not make you a disciplined person. Being from a disciplined family does not make you a disciplined person. Being in a disciplined group does not make you a disciplined person. What makes you a disciplined person is choosing to be disciplined. So, yeah, and also as far as telling people to man up, which, you know, when someone says, how do I get up early every day? I say, get up early every day. How do I stop eating sugar? Stop eating sugar. If that's the definition of man up, but obviously it's not just men that need discipline in their life. I don't think I use that term, but what I do tell people is to get after it. That's what I tell people, to get after it. I tell people to do the things that they know they're supposed to do.
He said, son, you have busted up subclavian artery in your chest. You're bleeding internally. We have to rush you back. Take the main vein out of your left leg, plug it into your chest in order to save your life. When I opened my eyes from recovery, the same doctor was over me. He said, son, has some good news and some bad news for you. I said, you got some bad news for me? After telling me I was about to die, I'm still alive. How bad can it get? I'm still here. He said, the good news is we saved your life. I said, thank you, sir. He said, the bad news is, Ink, you have nerve damage in your right shoulder. I said, okay, cool. He said, but son, it's a strong possibility that you probably can never play the game of football again in your life. I said, no way. I said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but I've been working for this ever since I was 7 years old. He said, no disrespect to you, Doc, but you wasn't in the park with me and my mother. And I was 7 years old and she was sitting in that Buick Regal she got done working at Wendy's. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't come up in that 2-bedroom home, 14 people sleeping on the floor. No disrespect to you, Doc, but you didn't miss those meals and stay focused and never made an excuse. I never cheated.
I refuse to lose. I refuse to give up. Some people like to give up on a lot of things. Some people like to just give up and quit. Quitting is easy. I don't believe in quitting. I don't believe in submitting to things that don't have control of my life. Losing, that's easy for some people because they don't believe in themselves. Giving up, that's easy because that's the easiest way to get out of things. Making excuses, oh, that's the best thing that most people enjoy more than anything. You hold on to excuses like it's a teddy bear. And that's not the way you want to be. I, myself, I'm never going to give excuses to satisfaction. I'm never going to give my competition dissatisfaction because the greatest competition is you. So you want to give up? You want to quit? You really want to lose. And then when you lose, you start blaming people.
It didn't happen to me at 19. It didn't happen to me at 20. It didn't happen to me at 30. It happened to me at 40. After I had been through all the pressure I thought I could go through. Life said, you finished with all the pressure? I said, yeah. I said, let's bring on the heat. And then when I went through the pressure and the heat, y'all, I thought it was over. The Creator said, now you ready to get cut? You said you wanted to be great, son. You said you wanted to travel the world. You said you wanted to help people, inspire people. And you gotta be a diamond. But listen to me very closely if you've ever studied the diamond. Once it goes through that type of pressure and it finally becomes a diamond, at that point you can't break it no more. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? Once you get to that point, you cannot be broken anymore. And the only way they can tell if a diamond is a diamond or if it's fake is by applying pressure is how they tell. They don't just look at it. You think it's just looking at the thing like I looked in the thing. They'll just bring it here, put it on some glass. Okay, it's real.
Right? There's things that you know you're supposed to do as a human being. things that you know are going to improve your life. Do those things. There's things that you know are going to make you a worse person and make your life worse. Don't do those things. Don't do the things that are making you weaker. Start doing the things that are going to make you stronger and smarter and faster and healthier and going to make you a better human being. And I'll say the same thing to this guy. You want to be more disciplined? Get after it. That's it. Get up early. Do some kind of workout. Eat good foods. Clean your room. Make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things that you put on the list. That's what discipline is. And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you. And it's worth it. And it is the thing that is going to bring you freedom.
I never cheated. Like my conscience still until this day won't let me, like I can't cheat. I can't look myself in the mirror and say, Ink, you did a good job knowing that I cheated. I can't cheat. One of the greatest pieces of advice that my mother gave me was this: son, whenever you start, you make sure you finish. And the problem with the world today, people get involved with things, and if they don't like a certain person, if they don't like the process, if it's not what they thought it was, they quit. And what they don't understand about quitting becomes a habit that doesn't just affect you. Later on in life, when you get a wife, when you get some kids, or you get a family, it's going to come back to hunt you, and it will one day affect them. That is why I tell you the process is more important than the product. It's not even about the outcome for me. It's about, can you take pride in what you do as an individual, and every night when you look in the mirror, knowing that you gave everything you had to it.
When all you had to do was give it everything you had within yourself. For me, you can't beat me. I'll beat myself before I let someone else beat me. Does it sound like I'm overconfident? Does it sound like that I know more than you know? No, I know me better than you know me. I know what I'm capable of. Question is, do you know what you're capable of? Do you realize that the greatest challenges that you face in life, if you can adapt and overcome those challenges, wow! Isn't that amazing? That's all you can get from me. Wow! How explosive that is. Competition? There is no competition. It's only you. You're your greatest challenge. You can also be your greatest enemy.
So I'm being honest with you. I'm not giving you the 7 principles to. I'm trying to tell you the very first thing I want to tell you before we go through the principles. Just say it's going to be a dog fight. And if you soft, this ain't that you want to get out now. This is where you like, I quit. But if you're willing to say, I'm not going to quit, I guarantee you whatever success you want to have, you're going to have it. All right, so here's number 1. I apologize. It took a long time to get to number 1. Number 1, Denzel Washington. You must be very intentional and deliberate. You must be very intentional and deliberate. The stuff that you wrote down on that piece of paper is not going to happen by osmosis. You're not going to wake up one day and find a law degree. You're not just going to walk out of your house. There it is with my name on it. I'm a doctor now. It suddenly appeared. It's not going to work like that. If you're married, it's not going. If you're married, I promise you, I've been married over 26 years. If you're going to have a good relationship, you're going to have to work for it.